Last time, on Daughter of the Twilight, Daughter of the Light, the guards of Hyrule Castle found a mysterious letter in the wrecked room that the disappearances occurred in. Midna, Aura, and Zelda had been teleported to the Arbiter's grounds by an unknown cause in their search for Link and Ilia. Meanwhile, in another part of the desert, Link awoke to a redead, only to fall to the creature's malice. Ilia jumped up. She had heard a scream, not just any scream, but his scream. It was Link, and he wasn't too far away. Her entire body was filled with fear and sorrow at the same time. Was he in danger? Was his life on the line? Could she do anything about it? Ilia looked frightfully at the shabby, rotting wooden door, and then down at her hands. She began to tremble. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, followed by a weak, terror-filled smile. Yes, she could do something about it.
These splinters compared to losing him.
She took another deep breath and backed up a few steps. Then she let out a loud cry as she took a running start and slammed herself into the door, smashing right through it like it was only a few wayward bushes. Her arms were now bloody, however, and there were pieces of wood sticking out of her wounds.
That's definitely more than just a few splinters.
Ilia tried as hard as she could to laugh the pain away as she began to tear the thick splinters from her body. That is, until she felt hot, sticky breath down her back. She turned around and saw a strange, pig-like humanoid monster atop a huge boar, aiming a flaming arrow at her. She gasped and took off running.
Oh crap! Not again! No more arrows, please!
As she ran, memories of the day she was kidnapped from Ordon Village, along with the other children, flooded into her mind.
No more arrows! Please, no more arrows!
Sharp, deadly, flaming, and non-flaming arrows flung in the air around her, missing her by only a small margin. She kept running, following the sounds of Link's pain-filled screams, past heavy wooden fences and other monsters. She jumped over splintering wood, blood streaming from all sorts of gashes and wounds on her body. And then the sound stopped. She could hear his cries no longer. She paused for a moment, listening intently to her surroundings to hear if Link would begin screaming again. She could hear fire crackling all around her, the result of the poorly aimed flaming arrows. She could hear the grunts and squeals of the monsters and their boars. She could hear wood crashing to the ground as it fell over from its own weight. But she could not hear Link's voice. She began to panic.
No! Am I too late? Too late to save you?
Suddenly, she was filled with a burning rage. She picked up the nearest lump of wood and began smashing anything that even closely resembled a door. Anything that would help her find Link. Anything at all.
Link!
Ilia cried out his name over and over again, cynical tears streaming down her face. She would not accept the possibility that he was dead. She could not accept the possibility that she had failed him. Back at the Arbiter's grounds, Aura kept following the pendant that was tugging her around.
What if it's just leading me in circles? How am I supposed to be patient if the damn thing keeps tugging me around?
Aura whined as she was pulled viciously in the opposite direction she had just been heading.
Whoa!
How many times am I going to have to tell you to watch your mouth?
Aura scowled at Midna as she was jerked in yet another direction.
It's not funny! And how many times do I have to tell you that you aren't my mom?
Yet, you mean?
Not at all, if we're stuck here much longer.
What do you mean?
Just now. Didn't you hear it?
Hear what? I didn't hear anything.
Midna was getting very confused, but she trusted Zelda above anyone, even above herself. She didn't doubt the fellow princess, but how could Zelda have heard something that she herself did not? The two princesses were interrupted by a loud, happy shriek.
Look, you guys, I found it! Princess Zelda, you were right. It did lead me to the other tier.
How come you address Zelda by her full title, but not me?
Aura just stuck out her tongue at her. Zelda and Midna rushed over to where Aura was standing. Her pendant was glowing even brighter than before, and an identical gem was floating very close to it and moving closer with every second. The two tiers then merged and sent off an enormous amount of light.
Amazing.
Why did it do that?
I don't know, but it sure was neat.
Aura was now holding the brightly shining pendant in her hands. The glow was not fading.
Though I don't know why it's still glowing. Maybe something's happening to it?
Midna suddenly jerked her head up.
Smoke.
Smoke? What do you mean, smoke?
I smell it. Don't you? Something nearby is burning. I smell it. It's so strong.
Midna turned around and started running towards the opening that looked over the desert. Zelda and Aura quickly followed her and looked out at the desert as well. It was true. There were huge billows of smoke all throughout the camps of Ganon's minions. Everything looked like it was up in flames, and if it wasn't yet, it soon would be.
By the gods, what happened?
I don't know, Zelda. I just don't know.
Back in Castletown, the 4 guards walked into Telma's bar, one of them holding the strange note written in ancient Hylian. They marched up to the counter and held out the note. Telma looked up at them from cleaning a glass.
And what do you no-good sons of pigs want me to do with this hair piece of cuckoo scratch?
The guard who was holding the note shuffled his feet.
We're looking for a man who goes by the name of Shad. We heard that he often hangs around at your bar. Have you seen him around of late? It is of the utmost importance.
Shad? You mean the scholar, right?
Yes, the scholar. Where is he, if you know?
Haven't seen him. He just up and left a few days ago. Don't know where he was headed or when he'll be back.
That's a shame. It seems our dear princess is lost forever then.
What do you mean the princess is lost? What happened?
The guard smiled, happy that he had now captured her full attention. Back in the Arbiter's grounds, Aura looked down at her hands and shrieked.
What is it?
I'm disappearing.
It was true. Aura was glowing with the light of the tear pendant, and she was becoming see-through. Midna kneeled down and tried to put a hand on Aura's shoulder to console her, but she just fell through her, startled.
What's going on here?
I don't know. I just know that
And then she faded all the way. She was absolutely gone, without a trace. All that was left was the silver tear pendant as it clanked to the ground after Aura had disappeared. Midna's eyes filled with tears.
Aura? Aura, where did you go?
She struck the ground with her fist, only to hurt herself in the process. Zelda kneeled down next to her and put her arms over her shoulders, picking up the silver tear and putting it around Midna's neck.
Midna, we just have to stay calm. Everything's going to be just fine.
But Midna could tell that Zelda didn't even believe her own words. The desert was in flames, Link and Ilia were still missing, Moblins had reappeared in Hyrule, and now, most devastating of all, Aura had disappeared.